Hey, hooligan, it's Sam. I am exhausted, and I have a feeling you might be feeling about the same way. If you think of me as the guy you come to cheer you up, feel free to skip this one. I won't think anything any less of you. I'm just not telling any jokes this time. It's a short break from my comedy work, and after this video, I'm going to get right back to working on the comedy video that I've been working on about Gay Pride Month. Last week there were at least 4 mass shootings in the U.S., and one of them happened just around the corner from me in downtown Dayton. Tiff and I have a place on the northwest side of town. So I hear the news about the murders at the Garlic Festival in California and here in Dayton and down in El Paso. And I feel, I'm sure, all the same things that you feel. I feel angry and frustrated and sad, and I want so badly to be able to do something to help people, and I feel helpless. And because I can't think of anything more that I can do, I go back to my desk and I look, and I feel gut punched when I look and I see that this is what I was working on. I feel guilty for working on this despite knowing that I'm opposing hate speech here. This particular piece is for the Pride Month video showing the Nazis that showed up at this year's Detroit Pride Parade. The idea is to watch this and to ask yourself, would these Nazis have received that same escort by the police had it not been the Pride Festival, had it been a Jewish festival instead? And I still feel guilty. I feel guilty about my work every time. I feel guilty about my work every time a shooting hits the news, just because I'm a comedian. And I know it doesn't make any sense. I know I can't predict them. I know I can't schedule my work around them. So every time one of them happens, I'm going to be working on something like this. And every time I'm going to feel guilty. And the most frustrating thing about it is that we know what the problems are, mostly. We know where to look for answers. Other countries have already mostly solved these same problems. Countries like Australia and New Zealand. I focused a lot of my comedy over the last few years on a problem that I feel like is a big one in our country. White supremacy. And I focus on it because I know a lot of people don't. Because I know that a lot of people prefer to just sort of bury their head in the sand and not talk about the violence coming from, people that are inspired by Richard Spencer or our president, the guy they called the MAGA bomber, who was sending bombs around to various critics of Trump. I saw an article recently where he said specifically that he was radicalized, that his bombings were inspired by watching Fox News. And I don't think that all the people that work at Fox News are Nazis, but I also don't think you have to be a Nazi to help them.
It's great to welcome back to the program today Frank Mink, who is a former neo-Nazi. So let's talk a little bit about Trump. So last time you were on, it's crazy because when I had Richard Spencer on, the white nationalist, both of you, to summarize very crudely, said, he's not using all of the language that a real white nationalist would necessarily be using. But if you know the talking points, you see the signals.
It's a fact that he says things that are exactly what we were saying back then. It's a true fact. It's not he uses the same type of rhetoric, same type of fear tactics that Fox News uses all the time. Fox News is legendary in that they always are fear-based stuff. Fox and Friends in the morning is not very friendly. It's not very friendly. It's not white at all. It's very much they're coming for us. They're coming in droves from their the convoy was coming up here with all those people. So it's just it's really bad.
And we know how to deal with problems. When we want to deal with a problem, we do. We can. We do. Several years ago, there was a rumor that people were going out at night in scary clown masks and scaring people in the street. And the police, all over the country, police were on this story like stink on shit. The police locally here in Dayton, Ohio, went on the news and were saying that anyone caught wearing a clown mask in the street would be immediately arrested and charged with multiple crimes, with menacing and disturbing the peace, and a couple of others for good measure. And after about a week, they discovered it wasn't actually true. There weren't any clowns running around menacing people. The entire thing was just a weird rumor. There were never any substantiated claims of anyone doing this. But police all across the country were so afraid that people were being scared. Oh no, people are being scared. That they're going on the news telling people that they're going to be arrested and charged with at least 4 different crimes just for being on the street in a clown mask. They made such a big deal about it that even Colbert did a bit about it on The Late Show. And yet, what's our police response when Nazis show up to Detroit's Pride Festival? They're wearing the Nazi uniform, the uniform of people that murdered thousands of LGBT people, showing up to an LGBT event, shouting Sieg Heil and so forth. And what do the police do? They give them an escort while they try to start a riot. We know what the problem is. We know where to look for answers. And the only reason that the problem isn't being solved is because people in our government like the problem. They are creating and promoting and perpetuating the problem. People like Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell, who refuses to allow any kind of legislation to even come to a vote. Mitch McConnell won't even allow the democratic process to move forward on anything, on any attempt to resolve issues with gun violence or issues with white supremacist terrorism, because he found a loophole, or a couple of loopholes in the Constitution that allow him to do that allow him to actively attack our democracy, and it, somehow is legal for him to do that. Over 70%, almost 3/4 of the mass murders in the U.S. in the last, 16 years have been perpetrated by white supremacists. And one of the first acts of the Trump administration, as soon as he took office, was to dismantle any attempt to even investigate white supremacy as a threat to us. We are being attacked by our government because they are aiding the people who are murdering us.
I don't know if you heard on my CNN interview where I talked about the Donald Trump and the taking money away from Life After Hate, which is an organization I helped found it.
Yeah.
Great organization. And he took that money away, $400,000. He took it away because we wanted more money to go towards Muslim extremists. Well, look where that's gotten us now. Now we're starting in the hole to get back now, to catch back up to this, because they've been so worried about Muslim extremists, which haven't killed nowhere near as much people as the right wing have, the right has. So.
And I guess I wanted to make this video mostly because I wanted to say, if I've been silent, it's not been because I don't care. Because I know that silence can be just as harmful. And if you're frustrated like I am, if you're scared like I am, I want you to know that I'm here for you. Contact me on Twitter at DataFaucet. I'll put it in the description. Email me if you'd rather. woohooligancomic@gmail.com. I'll put that in the description also. I know I've been pretty busy lately and I haven't been putting out a lot of work because of all of the craziness at home, but I promise that I'll do what I can to help you. I promise that I'll listen. Okay, that's all I have for now. If you made it this far, thanks for sharing yourself, and I'll see you next time.
Tears in my eyes while I write this song. Starting to cry, I can barely sing along. Cielo Vista Mall, just shopping at Zoomies. Can't imagine what it's like to hear the sound of screams and shootings. Waking up with a broken heart. The day after the devil showed up at Walmart, taking the lives of innocent people. When in God's eyes we are created equal. Hating is hard, so very cruel. Breaking families apart while shopping back to school. In the Sun City, good people and bright smiles. It was not one of our own. He had to travel for hundreds of miles. This kind of hate, it doesn't exist in our border town. We stick together, we are the safest. Time heals our wounds, it won't take that long. Oh no, 'cause we are resilient and faithful, and Paso Strong. Try to tear us down, but we will recover as we stand together with our neighbors and love one another. The time is now to unite our culture, 'cause we are family. We're all sisters and brothers. We will rise and never fall. See through the lies, brick by brick, break down the wall. Now it's up to us to carry on with love in our hearts, 'cause we are El Paso Strong. 'Cause we are resilient and faithful, El Paso Strong. Sing it with me. El Paso Strong. El Paso Strong. El Paso Strong.